Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we are in Ravenwood building some townhouses for 4 occult sims, and I tried to pick ones that I don't normally build for. So werewolves was out. They're just too easy because there's just so much like broken down furniture. It's just very simple, using werewolves pack and a couple others to just completely inhabit that entire aesthetic. So instead I chose some maybe more challenging ones for me. I have a PlantSim, a vampire, a mermaid, and also her daughter, and a ghost. And the ghost is not really a new occult type, but with life and death, they are kind of expanded upon, and they have more abilities and more, honestly, they're just more interesting. So I thought that would be fun to throw in here in Ravenwood. This first house over here with the Realm of Magic door is going to be for the PlantSim, and also in the back I will have a forbidden fruit tree. I have that one planted in the back so that they have an unlimited supply, because they need to constantly eat that in order to maintain their PlantSim-ness, if you want to call it that. I'm not really sure, but even though it's not an official occult, I like to think of it as one, and I think it's fun and I enjoy it. So I'm hoping maybe one day they'll expand upon that a little bit. We have the mermaid's house right here in front of us that we're working on. I used a lot of island living for this one. For the vampire, I used a lot of, obviously, vampires and life and death, because there's just so many nice things in there. And then there's also, for the ghost, there's a lot of life and death, and I tried to make it a little bit more rundown, but it's more like classic. So hopefully you will enjoy how I did all of these homes. It was challenging, and it took me quite a few days. Also, I apologize ahead of time for the sound of my voice. I am currently losing my voice in my house yet again. Illness is upon us. 'Tis the season, so we are all just coming down with one thing or another. Mine happens to, of course, affect my voice and how I sound. So I wanted to get this done before I completely lose it, because this is already a very long build, and I knew it would be a longer voiceover, so I didn't want a chance just not having a voice at all to complete it. So sorry about that. It's a little harsh, I'm sure. But right over here, we're working on the PlantSim's home, and I did use the roof texture from, I believe that's from Werewolves. I really like that mossy texture, and then the roof trim is from For Rent. I really like that one as well. It's kind of like the scalloped edging. I use that one quite a bit in most of my builds, just because it looks so fun and whimsical, and I think it goes really well with this. Also, the siding is from Castle Estate Kit. The mossy kind of castle brick I thought looked really nice. Over here is the ghost's home, and I did use the windows and doors from Life and Death, and I also added a little greenhouse off to this side because I wanted to use these broken kind of greenhouse windows, and I do like alternate them. I don't use all broken windows because then it looks too samey, but I really wanted to use those and also give it a nice glass roof. So I'm not really sure what this sim is doing with plants, considering they are not really of this earth, but you know what? I just decided to roll with it. Maybe they like to do gardening in their very much free time. So, although I don't know, can they have jobs in the Life and Death expansion pack? Can they still maintain their jobs? I'm pretty sure they can. So maybe he's a gardener. I'm not 100% sure. But over here, we have just added all of the lighting, and then I decided I wanted to figure out what the porch situation would be like. A lot of these are risen up on platforms. The vampire and the ghost's home have platforms inside the home themselves. So if you see, pieces of furniture jumping around, that is why, because whenever you try to mess around with platforms, things don't want to snap to the ground. They want to jump up to the platform that's there, which is incredibly annoying. Also, what's annoying in this world, speaking of which, is the lighting, because no matter what time of day it is always really strange lighting, or really green, at least in this section of Ravenwood. Not sure why that is, but if I came here with a sim, just during the day, it was fine. But if I came in during build mode, it was just horrendous lighting. So you will see the lighting change as we go through the build, because I was just trying to figure out how to make it more appealing and actually figure out how to see the colors for what they really were, and not this weird greenish shaded cloudy thing. It was giving me a heck of a time. Over here, I did use the werewolf's fence for leading up the stairs, the platform stairs, just because I really like the broken downness of that, and I wanted to keep with that aesthetic. And then over here, I did repeat the same roof from Werewolves up top to kind of continue that wavy texture. I really like using that kind of shape for a roof if it's like a cottage build or for some other kind of whimsical occult build. So I use that one as well. And then over here we are also changing the roof for the ghost's home to be kind of sort of angled and slopey to make it look really fun. And I also used the roof texture from Life and Death because I think it looks really nice, and it kind of looks old and like it's been there for a long time, which I guess is the point. Now I'm going to start on the floor plan for the PlantSim, and basically this little tiny square in the middle is just normal bathroom. It is just a sink and a toilet. I did not include a shower, I'm pretty sure. I think there's a second bathroom upstairs and that one has a shower, a stand-up shower, so no worries there. But at first I was like, oh, do they really need a shower? And honestly, I think they do. They still need to be watered, if you know what I mean. So we have the bathroom downstairs. There's also going to be a bathroom upstairs. There's a living room and a kitchen dining room downstairs, as well as a greenhouse for them as well, because I figured they will need plants to absorb the energy from. They have to photosynthesize with other plants if there's no sunlight available. And I know that Ravenwood is exceptionally dark, so figured that they should have some plants available to them so that they could, satiate their hunger need as a PlantSim. Over here, this little roof was giving me a heck of a time. You'll see me mess around with that a little bit more later on when I realized that it was cutting into the home itself. But I used some hedge fences for either side of her back balcony, and then also the Castle Estate railing for the rest of the balcony, and of course this little tiny window from Cottage Living with a bee on it. And I changed the door inevitably to this one from Cottage Living because I like how this one looks with the stone around it, and it matches the other stone from Castle Estate very well. I did use some wood windows though. I wanted to bring in some more of the wood tone that I used kind of on the roof trim and then on the rest of the home. Just wanted it to be a little less castle-y and a little more cottagey. So it's like a cottage castle thing. It's a little bit of a mix of the two. And then we're over here at the ghost's home, and I am trying to complete the floor plan for this and get the idea that, the sim is just a single ghost sim. They have a little tiny back upper deck area, and then they also have like a built-in pergola space over a eating area in the back, which you will see shortly. I wanted to give them a lot of activities to do, and even if maybe they like entertaining, just because they're a ghost doesn't mean they don't have any friends. So I tried to give enough room for entertaining and cooking and just enjoying their afterlife. I thought that was important. And then here I am finalizing the exterior designs and colors of all of these townhouses, and of course I had to add some of these holes in the roofs of the ghost's home because I thought they just fit so perfectly. I did kind of mess around with the swatches for a little bit, but I think I just went with the default swatch, and then these little roof decorations on top as well because I wanted to give it a little bit more interest. It was looking rather boring. And on top of the vampire's home, I just changed the half wall roof trim thing to a darker color. And then over here in the ghost house, once again, we are adding some blemishes to the front of the home. So I wanted some of this like exposed brick pieces coming through, and also some stains and some scratches and cracks. We will see more of that a little bit later, but we are back in the PlantSim's home. I'm making the kitchen now. It is very green. It is very cottagey. I really kind of dove in to the cottage living and the country kitchen kit in here. So there's a very long, skinny galley kitchen, and then there's going to be a little dining table that came with Cottage Living, and then the chairs as well are from Cottage Living. I was playing around with using a different PAX chairs, but I really like how those match with the table. I also added a little kitchen hutch just because I thought it would be fun to put some more extra clutter on there and fill up the space a little bit. And then we have the door from Cottage Living as well, just going into the bathroom and also the living space. And then I picked the wallpaper that came with Home Chef Hustle for the backsplash in the kitchen, and the rest of the room is this lovely wallpaper that came with Cottage Living because it's so pretty and it has all the leaves and the flowers and the acorns and the bunnies, and I thought it just fit so nice. And this rug from Cats and Dogs underneath the dining table. And then I switched out the lights for this hanging pendant, the medium hanging pendant from Cottage Living over that table. I thought it looked so nice. In the bathroom, I got a little creative. I used this vine wallpaper from Love Struck because I haven't used that one yet, and I thought it looked really fun in here, and it definitely leaned into the PlantSim a little bit. And then over here in the living room, I was just trying to figure out where the couch was going to go because that would determine where the door to the greenhouse was going to go. And I pulled out this fake flower table that came with Bloomin' Rooms. It has like a bunch of flowers and dirt and stuff on it. I thought that'd be fun to use as her TV table, and also some seedlings right next to it. I threw in a bunch of plants in here, and I wanted to make it look very like this is her room where she hangs out with all of her plant friends. So that is why they watch TV together. It's totally fine. And then we added some windows out here, and I did have to use Tool Mod to adjust it ever so slightly. And then we have the curtain from Bloomin' Rooms, which is the vining curtain, of course, and some more windows. So that's going to be like the living and entertaining space. Over here we have more of these windows from Life and Death, but I used the ones that were not broken for the greenhouse. And then back to the living space, we have the rug from Cottage Living, and then also a bookshelf that is base game. We have a little wreath on the wall. We have a couple paintings that are really pretty, and also the hanging plant on the wall. Now here in the kitchen, we have a curtain going up right behind the dining table because I thought that was nice, and I added a bunch of clutter, some herbs hanging just above the counter in the kitchen here, and then I also added a bunch of little stuff next to the sink, the soap pump and such. I believe I add that later. Also another flower arranging table here. It's a fake one, again, in the dining space, because again, I think that she loves plants. They are her friends, and she wants to be surrounded by them no matter what room she is in. Up here we have a door to the outside deck space, and then I was just figuring out the railing up here. This is about the time I decided to make an upstairs bathroom as well for her, and also to fix where this roof was clipping in on the inside. It was bothering me, so I threw out some of these flower pieces that came with Jungle Adventure, and they cover up that space very well. There is an actual flower arranging table, but I am going to end up moving it to the back deck space because it just didn't fit very nicely here, and I thought maybe she'd like an outdoor activity for the back deck. More of this wallpaper from Cottage Living, and of course the bed and the dresser from Cottage Living. And then I also thought maybe she would like to play some chess every now and again when she has friends over. I think that she enjoys her intellect, and she, just because she's a plant sim doesn't mean she's only a plant. I think she's very intelligent, so she has a chess table. Also some more plants out front here. We have some planter pots and a bonsai tree, and then that is when I moved the flower arranging table outside. And here's that bathroom going in. It actually ends up being like a 3x2 bathroom. I do end up moving one tile into where the stairway is because there was one extra space there. And I thought we could kind of hide the shower in that corner and then add the toilet and the sink. But other than that, I do end up decorating this bathroom a little bit later. I don't think I show it on recording because it's pretty much my standard bathroom, and I don't want to bore you with the details, but you will see pictures in the screenshots. So I think that it came out very, very nice. We have the herringbone tile from Growing Together, and also the wallpaper tile from Growing Together. And now we're going to work on the vampire's home. I did just a little bit of each of them of each of these homes for the first go around of recording because I wanted to make sure I got a solid foundation and I knew what I was coming back to next time. So I love this green tone for the color scheme in this living room for our vampire sim, who ends up actually being like a redo of Vlad because I just had to. I thought it would look really funny to see him in like a condo townhouse type deal. But he has a lovely living space with the brand new fireplace from Life and Death. Over here he has it's like a hallway, but it's also a study space. There's lots of bookshelves, there's a desk and a computer. And in my mind, he has just joined the Grim Turn career. So he has a little Grim Turn space upstairs where he has his own crow and he can practice and he can study to advance in his career. Over here is his very regal bathroom. So he has all of the new bathroom stuff that came with Life and Death, and then also this toilet that came with Realm of Magic. And I tried to rearrange everything in here so that it would fit nicely, so I did have to kind of cordon off one little square of the bathroom so that it wasn't like too spacious and needed to have a little bit of a separation. But I think they came together really nice, and I will end up expanding on that later as well. Up here, this little boxy room up here where the crow is going to be his Grim Turn room, and it's going to have all kinds of fun stuff to help him advance in his new career, and I think it's going to be really fun. Also posters on the wall and some fun wallpaper in here. It's still very moody and it's still very Vlad. I think it looks really nice. And then in the hallway we also end up giving him his pipe organ, so don't worry, he still has that. I know that he enjoys his hobby very, very much. I would never take that away from him. And then we have his bedroom with just a simple coffin for now, but we will get back to that later. Also, before I forget, I added some beams to the greenhouse for the PlantSim over here because I just thought it was necessary. And then I decided to lower the lamp down using the tool mod so that it was sitting just underneath the beam. Back here in the PlantSim's living room, I'm adding the chair, the easy chair from cottage living, because I think she needs somewhere to sit and read. And then I'm just sizing up the plant that's on the wall there and adding our bathroom clutter stuff into her little downstairs bathroom. We have the toilet paper roll, the soap pump, the toothpaste cup, the plunger, and then a little organizational shelf thing over here in the corner. And I tried to sneak it into the wall there. I just wanted to size it down a little because I didn't want it to get in the way of the toilet. And then I added this lovely hand towel from Growing Together because it is my favorite, and my standard bathroom light. Now over here is a tiny tour because I didn't want to bore you too much, but this is the kitchen space. They have the hutch with some tea sets on it. Here's the finished kitchen with all of its clutter, dish rack, flowers, etc. And I think it came out really cute. And then over here we have a laundry space. So there is no laundry basket because I forgot one, but this is a laundry space with a bunch of little cleaning supplies and pots. And then in here is the living room, obviously, that we just saw get decorated. And upstairs I'm just going to add one more painting to this hallway and it is complete. I tried to keep it really simple and just well lit, but not necessarily any purpose to it, just lots of plants and a way to get outside and a way to get to her bedroom. And then of course out here we already saw this back space, but there is a staircase down to the backyard, which I will be filling with a bunch of different plants and also the forbidden fruit tree. And here is her bedroom, all decorated. There's a nice little candle on the dresser and a flower arrangement on the dresser as well. The plants from werewolves, because I love those. And that is it for her home. And then we are over in Vlad's new house, the vampire's townhome. And I'm adding a lovely statue out front and some flowers in pots out here on either side of his porch. There's also vines leading up his home, and I just wanted it to look really creepy and kind of overgrown, but also very classic and like old, like he just kind of moved it here from a totally different world. It does not really fit next to the PlantSim's home, but I think that's the beauty of it. I didn't want them all to look like they fit next to each other. I wanted them to look very different and only suited to those specific occults. And then we are back in his living room. I did add a runner rug from Vampires and also this console table from Crystal Creations, and I threw on a bunch of different clutter. So we have the little candle from Life and Death, and of the plant obviously from Life and Death, those like half dying flowers, and then like a little bird head thing from Vampires because it's creepy and cool. And then I added the tapestry up on the wall because I wanted something else to fill that space and bring in a little bit more color. It's very green and black and brown in here, so I wanted to bring in a little bit more color. And off to this side on the wall I also end up adding more wall decorations, but first we have the chandelier going in that is also from Vampires, and we have some family portraits over there on the wall, I guess. So thought that was fun. I also did add a mirror here, and there ends up being a table underneath it. I know that's kind of ironic because he technically can't see his reflection. He is a vampire, but I still thought it was a nice touch for the entry space. So I added a candelabra. I did have to use the 9 key to actually get it up onto the table for some reason. It did not want to slot there, so that is fine. Also some lilies on the table because I think that he needed a little bit more flowers. And then we have the incense burner and a little set of books with some ink. Also, I love this large backed chair that came with Vampires. It's hard to use any other time, but in this home it was perfect. And another little hanging plant because I think Vlad also has a thing for plants and he very much enjoys them. I threw in quite a few of those in this home. And here is his desk space. He has a little lamp and a little journal next to his computer, some more paintings on the wall. This one's from Life and Death, and of course it's grim. He has to have that picture up there. And then the railing on the stairs I believe is also from Vampires because it matches everything so nicely. And then the bathroom you will have already seen, but I'm adding some decoration. So these shelves came with Life and Death, and I tried to kind of sneak them into this little section of wall here so they lined up, and then I could add some clutter to them. We have some flowers that I'm using the 9 key to place properly, and also some like lotions and some other bathroom stuff, like some perfume or cologne. I just thought it was fun. I wanted to add as much as I could, and a little shower caddy thing just above his tub because I thought that was nice. I also also have the soap pump and the toothpaste dispenser for him that I had to use the 9 key to place because there's no slots on this sink. I don't know why. And of course my favorite little towel next to there from the Growing Together pack and the toilet paper roll. I believe that the lights I end up using in here are from Vampires, although it could just be my other favorite ceiling light, the one from Cottage Living, and then one little window in the bathroom as well. Now up here in his Grim Turn room, we have added a window, and then I decided to change the swatches on all of the windows. They actually looked a little too beaten up for me. I wanted them to be a little bit more crisp. And then in the hallway, we use more of the Vampires wallpaper. In his room, he has the wood paneling from Vampires, and then this beautiful large rug from Life and Death. I do like these caged candles, so I use those. Those are from Vampires as well in his bedroom. And of course, the Vampires dresser and a large portrait, and maybe that is, I don't know if that's him when he was younger or if that's a friend of his or a colleague, maybe a more than a friend. I'm not sure. There's also a bunch of stuff on this table over here. We have some ancient tomes and some papers just scattered about. Maybe he's writing letters. And then over here in the scribing room, or in the Grim Turn room, we have a rocking chair next to the radiator, a little creepy painting that's cracked, and then the light I end up using is just this candelabra over here in the corner. I did have to do some rearranging to make it fit, but I just wanted it to have some creepy candle lighting. And our crow, of course, is right there. Out here we have our pipe organ, so I wanted to put a nice plant next to it just to fill in the space a little bit. And then I believe I also add a couch to the other side, and I'm not 100% sure which couch it was. It may be the one that came with Vampires, but again, not 100% sure. Actually, I think it's the one that came with Discovery University, because I really enjoy the colors on this, and I wanted it to still be dark and moody. And then of course some paintings up on the wall, some vintage paintings. I thought that was nice, and of course I had to add some cracks and some scuffs to the walls. I didn't want it to look brand new. I wanted this home to look like it had been here a while, and it was a little rundown, and what does he really care? So I decided to throw those in there. And then we have some roof decorations going up here on either side of the home. The last one took me a long time to place because it just wanted to keep jumping up and down, but I think his rooftop came out really nice. And there I'm changing the trim and also adding a little chimney because he has a fireplace and I wanted him to be able to use it. And then we have the Mermaid's house coming up. I have a bunch of plants going out in the front here. We have some palms from base game, also from movie hangout stuff, obviously from Island Living. I tried to not be too Island Living heavy. I wanted to use a bunch of different packs that we could, try to get the same feel for colorful and tropical without just relying on Island Living. Now, there is also a lot of tropical things to be used from the Jungle Adventure pack, but I didn't want to keep repeating the same things over and over there either. So it was challenging. It definitely gave me a hard time, but we will have seen. I just finished the entryway. I added some curtains on either side of the archway. There's also some double doors. And then over here, I'm trying to figure out where the living room is going to go. And we have this couch from Island Living and the end table and light, and also this vase. And I'm trying to figure out where the rug is going to go to come up with a shape for the room. I actually used 4 of these little square rugs, and I centered them in the room to kind of look like tiles on the floor. The rest of the flooring is this wood flooring that came with the pack as well. And from here, I decided to close off the room in such a way that we could have a space for the TV, but also a space that leads up to the stairs, because that is where the bedrooms are. And I think this came out pretty nice. I also love this hutch thing that came with Paranormal Stuff pack in this bright yellow, and I haven't really had a chance to use it, so I pulled it out here. I thought it was very tropical and fun, and I thought that we could use it in this room. And then I paired the sunset wallpaper with the wallpaper that came with Island Living, because I think that it just gives a little bit of color and interest to the rest of the room. And she is a mermaid after all, so I assume she very much enjoys sunsets. And then there's just a little archway into the kitchen. Here's our kitchen setup. We have lots of Island Living, a little bit of Cottage Living, and then the plant hanging above is from the Love Struck expansion pack. We have some Home Chef Hustle kitchen stuff, also base game kitchen stuff. The wallpaper is from Jungle Adventure, and then the flooring is just repeated from the other room. It is from Island Living, and then I'm adding a door to that little room, which will become a bathroom. But over here we are going to have our windows from Island Living, and then we're going to add the dining table very shortly. And I believe I use the one from Laundry Day because even though it is very large, you only have to add chairs to one side of it, and I thought that that would fit really nicely. Kind of looks a little bit more bohemian, a little bit more, laid back and fun. So I figured we would use those here, and also a ceiling fan because I assume it gets pretty warm in this kitchen. Of course, some tropical fruit on the table, and then the rug underneath the table. At first I was going to use this one from For Rent, but I changed my mind, but then I used a different one from For Rent instead because I think that the pattern on that is so nice. And then in the bathroom we have more tile from the Courtyard Oasis kit, and then of course we have curtains going in from Island Living, and the bathroom is just pretty simple. I also have some soap pumps on the wall from Snowy Escape, but we'll end up getting back to that in a little bit. We'll fully decorate that room. It was just not my first priority. I wanted to move up here to the bedrooms. So we have the daughter's room. It is very pink and kind of like orangey and salmon colored. It's really fun. I love this end table. I think it pairs so nicely with the bed from Island Living. I think that one is from For Rent. And then there's a little light on the end table from Snowy Escape. We have the kids' room stuff dresser and a Blarfy, of course. And then here in the hallway, I was just putting down that wood paneling, and then the rest of it is the same kind of rattan wallpaper that is from the living space. Now in the kids' room, I decided to use these curtains from high school years. They are very bohemian and kind of dangly and fun. And then there's a mural of an iguana on the back wall because why the heck not? And this rug from Horse Ranch because it just fits in all kinds of different rooms. I love it so much. And the toy box as well because this child is an actual child. They are not transitioning to teenhood anytime soon. So they still have all of the toys, the doll houses, the big Blarfy, the toy box. I thought that it was essential to make that very clear. And then some nice wall paintings, these cupcakes from Dream Home Decorator. I like to use those. They're very whimsical and fun. And then some wall hanging artwork that maybe she made at school or at home, and some other artwork from crafting just wherever she does. I think she's very, very creative and she enjoys the arts in her school and at home. And that little hallway is pretty much complete. We have some wall hangings and a plant. Out here we have the little deck space. It's very simple. There's some chairs, some sunblock, and some hanging lanterns and a fan. I do end up sizing up those little wall partitions later on because I wanted them to fit completely in that space and not leave a big gap in the way. But there's also some tiles going behind the seating area because I thought that was fun. And now here's a quick view of the rest of it. We have the hallway, which you have already seen, and then we have this window that I need to move down for some reason, and then we have the mom's room, the mermaid's room. It is very For Rent and Island Living heavy. There's also a lovely chair that came with high school years. There are some wall hanging decorations in her bathroom. It is very light and bright and fun. I did use the toilet from Snowy Escape and the sink and shower from Island Living. And then over here is the entryway to her front porch, and I think it looks really, really pretty. So that's what we have so far. And now we're going to move into the ghosts' home. So thank you for sticking around so far. It's like 28 or so minutes in, and it's just got a little bit more to go. So hopefully you're comfortable. But we have the couch going in from Growing Together in the ghosts' home. I wanted this to be very kind of dark and moody and a little dirty, maybe. I don't know if dirty is the right word, but it's definitely hasn't been cleaned in a while. There's going to be some cobwebs going up in this room because I don't think that he's really focused on keeping it clean. I think most of his friends are ghosts, or they understand that he is a ghost and he has a lot of unfinished business to attend to and cannot be bothered with dust because he himself is mostly dust. And we have some cobwebs going in the corner. We have some lovely plants on top of this piano and some candles up above as well. I thought that this main living space didn't need a TV because all the other living spaces have a TV as soon as you walk in, but I don't think that the ghost really prioritizes watching TV. I think he'd rather play his piano and practice his ghosting and just, try to live as much of his afterlife as he possibly can. And then we have some wall hangings going up. I really enjoy this one that came with paranormal stuff back, this haunted castle. I think it's really fun. So I threw that up there. And I believe I also add a chair in the corner. If I'm not mistaken, it's like a career unlock from the writing career or something. It's really cool. It kind of looks old and like worn out. So I wanted to pair that with the couch from Growing Together. And then we have the rug from, I believe that's from Werewolves. It's kind of ripped. It's kind of dirty. I think that it looks good in here. And some more cracks on the walls. The kitchen is very similar. It's actually a lot of horse ranch and country kitchen kit and cottage living. And I tried to make it look really worn out, but also very well utilized, because I think that he does entertain here. And he does know how to cook. So I wanted to make sure that this was a space that he would enjoy. And then more windows from Life and Death, because I just love them so much. And they are perfect for this kind of a home. I also love this wallpaper from Life and Death. And I didn't think I would, because it is very bold, but it works so nicely in this room. And we have a little light going on the table, and also a little plant, my favorite one from Bloomin' Rooms. And then over here we have a little hutch from Crystal Creations, and I end up throwing in some coffee decorations in there. I think I do that later on. But we have some more stains and cracks going up on the walls, because I thought that it needed a little bit more something over here. And it is a perfect way to fill up empty wall space. And especially if you're having a home that is for a vampire, werewolf, ghost, etc., just using some cracks in the walls to fill in that space is like ideal. So we have a coffee pot and also some more decorations above the stove. And now we are back in the backyard, and I'm going to build a little pergola with some fence pieces and some columns. It was jumping around all crazy, probably because of the platforms, so I do apologize. I tried to cut out all of the jumping that I possibly could, because it was very hard to watch. It kind of made me feel sick. But we have these little spaces here that I'm just deleting the flooring, and then we are going to cover it with a bunch of plants, a bunch of kind of ground cover plants, because I think that that's really nice. Also, these little hanging like bunches of ferns that came with horse ranch, I thought they looked really nice as well. And then, like I said, just a bunch of ground cover plants going in up here that I'm going to place around and make look super nice and overgrown, and like they've been here forever. Maybe he's growing like his own little canopy just above his deck. But he does end up having a little table underneath his pergola where he can dine and have entertainment for his guests. I think it's just a little tiny circular table, and I think it may be from university, just because it's like a bar height table, and I really enjoy how that looks, as well as the stools. I think back here it just looks really nice because it changes the height from walking straight out the door to sitting at a normal height table. It kind of breaks it up a little bit. And then a lot of these plants end up being from Debug and Live Edit for Life and Death, because I could not find the ones that I wanted. I wanted the ones that kind of looked dead and unmaintained, and that is why I had to go digging in Debug and Live Edit. Now you'll also see that he has a little bathroom upstairs. He does not have a bathroom downstairs, but I don't think he really cares, honestly. And then in the kitchen, more cluttering. We have cutting board and knives. Over here we have some plates and some cups, and also a mug rack that goes down here. That is the Crystal Creations hutch. It is so versatile. You can use it for so many things. And that's when I decided to move the coffee pot over a little bit, so that there was more room to cook, because maybe he enjoys cooking with friends. And another rug from Werewolves under the dining table. I just sized it up ever so slightly with the tool mod. I think it came out really nice. More plants from Werewolves out here, because I use those all the time, no matter what kind of build it is. And I really liked using the Debug and Live Edit objects that came with Life and Death for these flowers, and the planters are from For Rent, I believe, which I think they look really nice here because they're very stone textured and they're not super clean. They do have some blemishes on them, so I thought it looked nice, and some of these black roses just poking out of the planters was exactly what we needed. Now for the backyard of the Mermaid's house, I forgot to add a door, so I had to make this window space a little bit smaller. I used a smaller window, and then I grabbed this screen door to lead into the backyard. And it does end up working out. I did play test it. My sim had no problem getting out to her backyard and also sitting at her dining table so she could eat. Then here is a little peek at her backyard. I did cover it in sand and a little bit more terrain paint to give it some shading. I thought it was really fun, but it's mostly low-lying plants, and then some of these big leafy plants. There's also a lounge chair and a little end table with a light on it. It's just really fun and cozy and very island vibes in this strange world of Ravenwood, so I thought that she would appreciate that and enjoy it. I also end up adding some wall lanterns from Island Living to the side of the home, and then this is just more plants going in, some ferns and some bromeliads and some tiny little palms. I think it looks really nice. Now behind the vampire's home, There's no actual way to get back here, but I know that Vlad can travel as a bat, so he doesn't necessarily need a door to travel to his backyard. He can just travel as a bat back here, and he will have those plasma fruit trees planted in the backyard. That is why I placed the plasma fruit so that I could bring him here to plant them for himself, and a bunch of overgrown grass. His little backyard is very simple. I do end up adding some terrain paint to kind of differentiate between all of the different backyards. And then over here for the PlantSim, we just have lots of plants, because of course we do. It's all of these hedges, and then I also add some vines to the outside of the home and leading up the stairs. I also add a bunch of roses and black-eyed Susans and hydrangeas and wildflowers and overgrown grass and some mushroom pieces. I just think that it looks really nice and overgrown, very cottagey. It's kind of like a little piece of Henford on Bagley in Ravenwood, and that's kind of the idea I was going for. There's also some garden plots here so that your PlantSim can plant other fruits and vegetables and flowers outside. And then I do add terrain paint to kind of bring it all together, so there's like dirt underneath the flower beds and underneath the stairs and on the underside of the house, and that way it all comes together nicely. And of course a little path to the back gate. I don't know where you would go past the back gate. I'm not really sure what else is in this world yet, because I haven't had a whole lot of time to explore, but I'm hoping that I will get a chance to very soon. I've just been so focused on building, and it takes me a very long time. So I appreciate you sticking around this long. We are now at about 37 minutes. It's just crazy, and we still have so much more to go, and I'm truly sorry. I did make an enormous build for this one. I was having a lot of fun with it, but I was also like, no, this has to be like perfect. I have to make sure it's exactly what I need. And now for the backyard of the ghost home, we are adding more debug and live edit plants. I wanted it to really replicate the rest of the world, whereas the other backyards definitely do not. So this one came together pretty easily because I could just easily see how it blended in. There's lots of overgrown grass. There's a little tombstone next to the tree and a photo frame for the sim. I assume it's for the sim who lives here, but maybe it's for somebody else. And then we have more bushes out in the front, and trying to figure out the trim for the stairs here. I think I ended up going with this one from Get Together. It has some little nicks and cuts in it, so it looks like it fits very well. And then we are working on some front landscaping for Vlad. He has some of these little white flowers leading up, and then also some grass clumps over to this side, because I think that his front yard would probably be a little bit more overgrown. Over here where the mermaid's home is, we have some of this low-lying bushy stuff on the ground, and also some azalea plants, and I think that it just came together so nice. I also wanted to add some cracks and some blemishes to the walkway going up to the ghost's home. So that is what you're seeing here, mostly from werewolves and also Strangerville, because I just enjoy it. I think that it needs to be represented as a home that's been here for a really long time and maybe isn't perfectly manicured or fixed up. So I think that it is just really, really fun. And I did end up moving some Sims into these homes. I picked most of them off the gallery, and I may have doctored them a little bit or adjusted their family size, but I will put the credit for that in the description box in case you see any Sims here that I used that you would like to also have in your game. But right now we are working on the greenhouse for the ghost, and there's not a whole lot going on, just a lot of vertical planters and some little tiny plants here and there, and also some candles up on the wall, because I wanted you to be able to see. Now we're upstairs in his room. We are using more life and death, and he has a lovely 4-poster bed, and it is red and very moody. And then I use this kind of like old style wallpaper with the flowers on it. I was kind of looking for something that looked vintage and dingy and like it had been here a while, kind of blended in with the rest of the home. Also, this rug from Growing Together works surprisingly well with the bed from Life and Death, so I was pleasantly surprised, and I threw that in here and I sized it up with the tool mod. You'll also see a little peek of the bathroom. It is very black, it is very dark. I'm going to get to decorating that shortly as well. Lots of decorating, lots of going back and forth, but I really like this base game dresser for in his bedroom because it already has scuffs and such on it, so I tried to adorn that with a couple more decorations. And there's also a little painting on the wall over here. I think that he is a well-traveled ghost, so he has some world paintings on there. And then over here we are just going to replace the lights with these candles that came with My Wedding Stories, and now we are in the bathroom adding a light from Cottage Living, and then eventually I will be adding all of my bathroom clutter stuff. I'm not sure if I did it on camera or not, so we'll find out together. This was a couple days ago, and my kid got sick, and now I'm feeling sick, so I've been a little hesitant to do this voiceover and get committed to this long of a voiceover, honestly, because this is a long time. It's a lot of talking for me. We have some more blemishes and cracks and cobwebs going upstairs, because of course we do. And a little picture of Guidry, and also a picture of Princess Cordelia upstairs, because I thought that was a nice touch. And up here is his little TV space. He has this little broken down TV from Basement Treasures, and this covered up chair from Horse Ranch. I think that it gives a little bit of the like ghosty chair aesthetic, so I wanted to put that in here. And also the lamp from Basement Treasures that kind of flickers a little bit. Again, I just thought that it fit the whole vibe of the room and the home, so I hope that you enjoy it as well. I changed the swatch to white just to give it more ghostiness, and some plants in his room. There's also more paintings on the wall. Here is the decorating of the bathroom. I wanted to make sure there was a toilet paper roll and also some stuff on the back of the toilet, and also a plunger. And I believe I also added a shelf with a little plant and maybe some other decorations. I'm not sure, again, if I show that on camera. So if I don't, you've heard it here first. And then we have the soap pump and the toothpaste and toothbrush cup, because I love it so much, and a little towel on the wall here from Base Game. Here's that shelf. This one is from Crystal Creations as well. I think that it goes really nicely in here. There's just a toilet paper roll and a little tiny plant, and I actually moved the shelf to accommodate the plant instead of the other way around, because I figured that would be easier. And I think that's a pretty nice bathroom. And then back here on his little deck out back, we have a bunch more Basement Treasures stuff going in. Just this little stack of chairs, this chest, this mirror with a bunch of little canvases in front, and then a dolly with a suitcase or something on it. I think it just gives the look that this home is kind of just overrun with stuff, and it is not necessarily lived in by a living person. So I hope that came across in my build. We also have more cracks. I'm replacing this window because it was cutting into the roofline of the greenhouse, and that was bothering me quite a bit. So we have done that, and then I'm also adding some more cracks to the building to give it a little bit more character. But now we are back at the PlantSim. We're going to be wrapping up pretty shortly. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. We're going to throw in some more plants for the PlantSim over here in the front of her home. I realized it looked very bland and empty, and I didn't want it to look incomplete. So we threw in a bunch more of these debug and live edit plants from Cottage Living. There's some terrain paint. I also brought out some planter boxes from Live Edit and Debug. They kind of look like little garden boxes that already have leaves and plants in them. I end up putting flowers in them for her as well. And we have back to the mermaid's home, because I hadn't finished decorating her living space. We have a bookshelf over here with a little stack of books on it, a pretty little axolotl up top, and then I use more of these flowers that I used to hide the roof line on the PlantSim's home, and I worked them up the wall to hide the railing from the opposing townhome, because it was driving me crazy. Of course, the lighting is terrible, but I added some of these wall lights instead to help a little bit with that, and then some of these debug planters from For Rent. I just kind of put it right up against the wall to look like the plant was coming out of that and then was being trained up the wall on purpose. That is my theory on that. This mermaid really enjoys plants, so that's okay. And then we have some more of these slatted windows going in the front here, because I just thought it needed a little bit more to fill up the wall. And of course, a computer desk. Every sim needs a computer, because that is pretty much how you do everything in this game. Just a little base game computer and also a speaker. And I believe I pick out the light from Island Living. I also thought this wall looked awfully empty, so I pulled out a mural that is a base game update from a couple years ago. I think it's really pretty. It's very islandy to me, very tropical, so I thought that fit nicely. And some of these little shelves over top of it just to frame it in. Now, your sim will probably end up putting plates or something up there, just fair warning. But I still thought they looked nice, so I kept them there anyway. And then I'm replacing the lights in the entryway over here with these wall lights from Island Living. Here are those planter boxes in front of the PlantSim's home that I spoke about. I end up putting some debug plants in there as well, and then just raising them up ever so slightly and also sizing them down apparently, because they were a little bit too big. And I think that that's almost it, for other than some lights and also a little fish sculpture on top of the wall here in the mermaid's home. But that is it for our townhomes. thank you so much for sticking around with me. I know this was a long one. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you check out all the other Sims that I used from the gallery. Their credit and stuff will be listed in the description box down below. If you have not already, please be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see. Also, please send me your well wishes and your healing vibes, because I have officially lost my voice, and this is going to be a really hard voiceover to listen back to and edit, so pray for me. And I hope to see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.